Yu-Gi-Oh! An incredibly complex card game with tens of thousands of cards. However, what if each set was separated from the rest of the massive card pool and your choices when building a deck were extremely limited? In this series, in order to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! From the ground up, I will be embarking on an adventure through the history of the card game with Jeexx. In each episode, we will have access to all the cards in a select product, and using only the cards in that product, both of us will build a deck before playing a best of 3 match to determine the winner of the episode. We will move in a chronological order in the series, and with each new episode we will forget the cards of the past in order to experience something brand new. We hope you enjoyed this adventure through Yu-Gi-Oh! And its evolution with us. Welcome to the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. What's up, ladies and fellas, and welcome to another episode of the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey, and this time we are getting a proper start to... Well, I mean, last week was already a proper start, but this is our first proper main set of the Zexal era and XYZ with Generation Force alongside Turbo Pack Booster 6. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what there is in the set. So, well, a lot of stuff will be similar stuff that we already saw appear last time with Gola and Goblinberg. A lot of stuff that with XYZ, you really want stuff that can either stick on the field or better yet, just something that can summon another thing like Goblinberg, just being Goblinberg, another level 4, just makes your rank 4. Very simple like that. Then there's a sub-team of mostly level 3s, but a lot of like Fish, Aqua, Sea Serpent stuff that we will talk about when we talk about a specific card. I don't want to talk about all of them. Windups are here that have varying different weird effects. I don't really even know how you would like describe windups like at this point in time, like as an archetype. They do get to hand loop stuff later on, but we'll get to that. But here we see like the first layer. So Spearfish Soldier kind of shows the main playstyle for the deck for the set, being this like almost like a tri-brigade of Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua type monsters, and wanting to banish them. Some stuff like banishing itself. We have Big Jaws earlier that just banished itself straight up. Iroka probably one of the better ways. Wing Toy just being one of the payoffs for that. Then we have some like very few cards from the dual terminal that we'll see shortly with Magma Cannoneer, Geshki, so levels, Geshki, Gusto. I think also Gem Knights make an appearance there as well, so those are something that we will get to a little bit later. Absolute Crusader here to combat probably what's going to be the best strategy in the set. Great Emperor Penguin, I think at this time we only have 2 decent penguins. I feel like penguins like get much more established of an archetypal identity later on. For now, you still have Penguin Soldier and Nightmare Penguin, I think was the other one. That are like decent bouncing if you want. As for the exits here, we have a lot of like, as we said, like the rank 3s for the Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua stuff. Submersible Carrier, Air Shark obviously wants to have banished stuff to burn your opponent. Leviathan Dragon is just a good generic beater. Terabyte is decent, but it takes 3 level 3s. Zenmeister, not really great yet. Terrace also kind of whatever. Levier has seen play for such a long time, but initially was here made for the what I'm gonna call the Fish Brigade, almost archetype, deck type, I guess. But being able to use some back your banish stuff is great. Double or nothing there, obviously, to interact with Utopia, which adds something that permanently increases something's power surface. They once again for the fishes, fish and kicks. There's a lot of the problem with the deck for the like this set specifically of fish is there are a lot of payoffs for stuff getting banished, but apart from like Air Orca, you don't really have good ways to actually banish your Fish Brigade stuff. Utopia and Aura here giving us access to Utopia as well Chinese tummy ache is interesting. And then Sea Lancer here. So Sea Lancer is the big boss monster for the archetype. So it's a level 5, needs to be tribute summoned, and then when once you can use this effect where you can take any number of your banished Fish Brigade monsters and equip them to Sea Lancer, and every time it would be destroyed, you can instead destroy one of those cards, and then it becomes a 2300 beater when it is equipped with at least a card. So a pretty potent beater that can stay around for a long time, but once again the problem. Oh, sorry. I got the hiccups. How are you actually banishing your stuff? And then we get to what will probably be the best thing in the set. And given its heroes, I'm sure Jeexx will show us what heroes can do here. So Visionary Trinity, Adoration, Gyade here, also Nova Master and Mask heroes with Goka and Vapor, alongside obviously Mask Change. Hero Lives also there for consistency. It's a lot of like very good heroes. Obviously we have access to Polymerization always, so you don't even have to do what's this, legacy support for that. You can just put it in the main deck. And also finally Elsworms from Dual Terminal are also current here. I think Dual Terminals are going to be on next set after this. I think Dual Terminal 5A comes out before Generation Force, and then 5B comes out after, and we're doing those in one, so you know it makes more sense to do it once both are out. But yeah, as Dual Form Roach also pretty good to prevent high special summons. Important, it's a when thing though. But yeah, so the main two themes here are the Fish Brigades as well as the heroes. And like I said, Jeexx is probably going to end up playing heroes. So I'll see if I can make something with the fishes, because we'll try to avoid mirror matches whenever possible. And then let's look at what's in Turbo Pack. It's just a lot of like overall good cards. Dark Dragon, I don't know if we have the tools to actually make good use in this set. Obviously still very good. Sengen is here as well if you need some more consistency. Fishboard Blaster obviously for the Fish Brigade is very good. Quick Draw Synchron is here, but we don't really have the we can with Legacy Rule. I could actually no, yeah, I forgot. We Quick Draw, yeah, doesn't really even do much because we are not doing the you don't get legacy support with the stuff that's in here necessarily. So you know, because otherwise it would be like layers upon layers that way, which would get pretty out of hand sometimes. So this is not giving you access to all other synchrons, which also means that you don't have access to the warriors. So Quick Draw actually is a dead card. Stardust and Red RDA are here for generic synchros, which is nice if you want those armor arm as well. Elector as well here if your opponent is like playing a single attribute deck. I guess this is nice that some of the Fish Brigade cards are wind and some are water, because it would be, if all of them were the same, like, and we end up playing that deck, then something like Elector would be really annoying. Fishy Gate is here as well if the heroes want more consistent. Cypher Soldier there to maybe combat those creature swap, obviously always very good. Gemini Spark, pretty scary for something like Neos Alias potentially, with heroes already being so powerful. And then it's mostly other stuff that's not really great, like Green Kappa. It has to be specifically set, so even if it pops to it's fine, but nothing crazy. But yeah, I ended up talking for a long time. Sorry about that. I guess I'm in a rambling mood today. I apologize, but hopefully you enjoyed this set breakdown regardless, and let's see what we can come up with in the deck building sections next.
Okay, so we're playing around with another hero deck, but this time the focus is on these 3 XYZ monsters. Ignore all of these, okay, guys? Ignore Absolute Zero. Ignore the Mask Heroes. Ignore the Mask Change. We're trying to go for Zenmeister plays and a Steel Swarm Roach plays, guys. Clueless? Surely we are, right? Surely. But yes, let us get started with talking about Absolute Crusader. So, in this set, we have Steel Swarm Roach, which, if you look at it, seems to be a way of dealing with, like, fusion monsters, for example. But if you look at it a little bit like in further depth, you would realize that Steel Swarm Roach doesn't work on stuff like Polymerization or Miracle Fusion, because these do not start a chain. They are cards that resolve, and whereas like cards that resolve that summon a monster and their resolution process cannot be negated with cards that say negate the summon. They have to be negated with cards that say effects that include special summoning. And Absolute Crusader in this deck has the duty of basically dealing with possible hero monsters that would be summoned. Yeah. Which should work, I'm pretty sure, because you're not negating the special summon, you're destroying the monster when it hits the board. Different story entirely. It's like Trap Hole versus Solemn Judgment. Then we have Bubbleman. Bubbleman is in this because it's water hero. Heat because it's a fire hero. And I think the attack boost might come in handy because we have access to cards like a Hero Lives now. A Stratos, a Hero Lives E-Call can make it so that we can fetch any hero we really want from the deck without any issue. Neos Alias, 1,900 beat stake, and we also have Gemini Spark in the Turbo pack, so we're going to be using that. It's also level 4, and we also have Hero Blast here, which it's kind of a bad version of Hero Beat to a degree. We have Ocean here. Ocean is again a water hero, so we can use it for Absolute Zero. Stratos, Woodsman is in here for an Earth basically, and that's about it. It's a searchable Earth, so we can go for Gaia if we need to. We have Goblinberg in here. Goblinberg is an Earth warrior monster that allows me to flood the field and to actually go for the XYZ place. Then we have Phantom Magician, which is a hero support card. When it gets this sort of a battle, you can spell summon a hero with 1000 or less attack from your deck in face-up defense position, which in this case would only be Bubbleman. A Hero Lives. A Hero Lives is the probably best piece of hero support that we're gonna see up until Hero Strike. And it simply says summon a hero. If you control no face-up monsters, pay half your life points to special summon one level 4 or lower hero monster, elemental hero monster from your deck. So you summon Stratos, you summon Heat, you summon Alias, you summon Ocean, you summon Bubbleman for half your life points. If you go into Stratos, you get to search another Stratos, and then you get to summon the Stratos, and then you get to search another Stratos or pop a spell on the field. Really good, like legitimately really good. And then we have Double or Nothing, which is in here as a kind of a joke because we have Utopia in the set. When a monster's attack is negated, target that monster. It can make a second attack during the spell phase. And if it does, its attack is doubled during the damage to the bone. E-Call, and then we have the new hero summoning method. Mask Change. It's a quick play spell card. Target one hero monster you control. Send it to the graveyard. Also, after that, if it left the field by this effect, special summon one masked hero monster from your extra deck with the same attribute that the sent monster had when it was on the field. Its original attribute if face down. This is... Don't mind that part. It has to be a face-up hero, by the way. But if it gets turned face down, it'll still get sent to the graveyard. Important distinction. Basically, this allows us to summon masked heroes, which are currently some of the worst hero cards that have ever been printed. Flat out. Vapor is 2,400. Sure, the thing is, you can get it off of like Bubbleman. That's fine. It can't be disruptive card effects. So you can make an argument, oh, that's better than Flame Wingman. But it doesn't really do anything. I don't think. I don't think you would want to play Bubbleman and Ocean to go into Vapor. You know? It's just not strong enough. But if we use a little bit of a trickery, we can go from you can mask change a fusion monster. We can fuse Bubbleman Stratos into Absolute Zero. And then we can mask change the Absolute Zero into Vapor. And then we'll talk about Absolute Zero's effect when we get to it. Miracle Fusion, Polymerization, Hero Blast, a card that we never really saw before when I was playing Heroes. Target one elemental hero normal monster in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. Then if your opponent controls any monster with attack less than or equal to that target's attack, destroy one of them. Neos Alias counts as a normal monster in the graveyard. Works perfectly. Raigeki Bottle. Each summon monster you control declares an attack. Place one thunder counter on this card. You can send this card with 4 or more thunder counters to the graveyard and destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Could be kind of good, could be kind of clutch, depending on how far the game goes. Smashing Horde. When a monster effect or trap card is activated that negates the normal special summon of a monster, negate the activation and destroy it. I don't remember if there are any ways of negating summons in this, but just in case, you know. Oh, there is. There's Steel Swarm Roach, of course. Yeah. But if there's something else, I don't know. United Front. When a trap card is active, it controls 2 or more face monsters with the same level, negate the activation, and destroy it. So basically, if we have Goblinberg and a Bubble Man or something, or multiple Neos Alias, we can use United Front to negate stuff like, I don't know, I guess Gravel Storm, Regeki in a Bottle, or Smashing Horn. Then we have Absolute Crusader, a third copy, and we have Elector, Sovereign of Birds. I don't remember if we ever saw Elector like before. I think this is the first time that he's actually playable. He has the effect of if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, a face-up monster with the same attribute, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, you can target one face-up card on the field, and that target's effects are negated during this turn. There can only be one face-up Elector Sovereign of Birds on the field. It's 2.4000 beats the gun is a level 6. It's pretty good. Like for synchro plays, this card is really good. Plague Spreader, because Plague Spreader is in every set. Archfiend, Red Dragon Archfiend, Stardust Dragon, Gemini Spark, tribute one face of level 4 Gemini monster, then target one card on the field and destroy it. And if you do, draw a card. Basically, idea is Neos Alias, you pop Gemini Spark on it, you send it to the graveyard, you pop a card, you draw one, and then you use Hero Blast to recur the Alias and pop one other monster. Miracle Fusion, third copy, Gravel Storm, target one spell trap on each field, and return them to hand. Hero Blast, a third copy, again on Regeki Bottle, a second copy. And now we have the interesting part, Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. So way back in the day, this card had the effect, the fusion requirements of 1 Elemental Hero, Destiny Hero, or Vision Hero. Which meant you could use any hero monster to fusion summon Absolute Zero with another one, water monster. And that makes this card the most versatile and arguably strongest hero fusion monster purely based off of that. Because, for example, there's a lot of good waters you can run within heroes themselves, so you can run the better heroes from the other hero archetypes. So you can play Absolute Zero with Bubble Man, with Ocean, with something that comes way later, Liquid Soldier. Damn, dude. I think it's legitimately, like, really good. This card is one of the only reasons why heroes are, alongside a card that we get way later again, a Dark Law. This card, and again, way down the line, there's more stuff, but like around 2010, 2015, Absolute Zero carries kind of hard. Like, there's a lot of good cards in here, like Alias, Stratos. Stratos getting banned. Our Hero Lives getting limited, if I remember correctly. And so on and so forth. All that stuff, like, alongside Absolute Zero, makes for an insane deck. I'm not really giving it justice right now. Please forgive me. I am very out of it. But yeah, Absolute Zero is a really strong card. 2,500 attack. Must be fusion summon. Gains 500 attack for each water monster in the field, except for himself. Or except for itself, sorry. If this card leaves the field, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. If this card leaves the field, this card is banished, bounced, shuffled. If this card is sent to the graveyard for a synchro play, for a tribute summon, anything, it will pop your opponent's field. It's insane. Then we have Gaia. We talked about Gaia before. Elemental monster, Earth monster, have sent a target's attack, gives it to itself. Nova Master is a new hero fusion monster. It's an Omni hero, just like Absolute Zero and Gaia are, and The Shining. But unlike Absolute Zero, it again requires an Elemental hero monster and a fire monster. There's not many good fire Elemental heroes that you would want to play. There's one later on that's decent, but it's still not good enough because we get a better option way later. Not way later, like fairly soon after that. But it has the effect of, if this card destroys an opponent's monster in battle, draw one card. Just kind of recurs the stuff that you used for it. Then we have Terraforming here because I was playing Woodsman and Ocean, so I figured why not just play one of these as a joke. You can tribute one Elemental Hero monster, and this card gains attack equal to that tribute monster's attack until the end of their end phase. And that's kind of funny. I think that's funny. So then we have The Shining. The Shining is one Elemental Hero monster and one Light monster. Must be fusion summoned, cannot be spell summoned by any other ways. This card gains 300 attack for each of your banished Elemental Hero monsters. When this card is sent from your field to the graveyard, you can target up to 2 of your banished Elemental Hero monsters. Add those targets to your hand. It's a win effect, which kind of sucks because it easily misses timing, but the fact that you can recur Elemental Hero monsters that were used for fusion summon is really good. It's really fucking powerful. Then we have Golka, which is one of the masked heroes. Gains 100 attack for each hero monster in your graveyard. Fire, so it doesn't matter because you just have to summon it using a fire elemental hero. That's also kind of why he is in here, to be a target for Nova Master and Golka. Then we have Vapor, which is a 2.4 thousand, cannot be destroyed by card effects, Mask Hero. Now, we would, like, to go into Vapor, we can use Bubble Man or Ocean, or we can Mask Change an Absolute Zero, summoning out of Vapor. And because this is an if effect and not a when effect, Absolute Zero will pop your opponent's field after you've sent it to the graveyard as a quick play. So it's a quick play Raigeki on legs. It's not that scary. Like, I would say mostly because the fact that the mask clearer that you get out of it isn't very strong. But later, oh boy, not even that far from now. Masked Hero Acid. Must be special summoned with a mask change. When this card is special summoned, destroy as many spell trap cards that your opponent controls as possible. And if you do, wait. Oh yeah, these are both mandatory, right? Yeah, these are both mandatory. That's why you can actually stack them. Yeah. I was for a moment I was confused, because this is not this is mandatory, and I was wondering if Absolute Zero was also mandatory. But yeah, that's why you can chain block Absolute Zero. So if your opponent has an effect that prevents you from destroying their monsters in the field, for example, by negating the effect that would destroy those monsters, you can activate Absolute Zero first if you summoned Acid using Mask Change, and then you chain Acid's effect, chain blocking the field destruction. Or the monster destruction. And then on top of that, you wipe their spell traps as well before you proc Absolute Zero. Which is really good. It's really powerful. Then we have two more hero fusions. These are, to give a bit of lore, these are Jaden's, Jaden's monsters after he stops using elemental heroes in the manga. And these are Aster's monsters, Edo Phoenix's monsters. Vision Hero Adoration, two hero fusion, two hero monsters, just any hero monsters. That's generic as hell. Once per turn, you can target one face-up hero monster your opponent controls and one other hero monster you control. That opponent's monster loses attack and defense equal to the attack of your targeted monster until the end of this turn. Really strong effect as well. And then we have Vision Hero Trinity, which I don't think is gonna come up, but it requires 3 hero monsters. After it's summoned for the rest of this turn, this card's attack becomes double its original attack. This fusion summoned card can make up 3 attacks during each battle phase. Cannot attack directly. So basically, if your opponent has a big field, you summon this thing, you ram it into 3 things, your opponent takes 1 billion damage, and then you're just like, sick. Checkmate, bro. I have Orient Dragon in here, because we have a Plague Spreader in the side deck. So in case we get a Plague Spreader out, we can make Orient Dragon using Stratos or any other of the cards that we have on the field. Utopia negates an attack. Steals from Roach negates the summoning of a level 5 or higher monster and destroys it. And then Zenmeister gains attack for each material that it has, and you can flip it face down using its own effect to reset its yada yada. That's a thing for wind-ups, which we're gonna probably be seeing 2 sets from now. But yeah, that about does it. That is a fairly lengthy deck breakdown. We haven't had one of these in a while, so good luck with the games.
And guys and gals, and welcome back. And here is what we are playing today. So we are playing the what I've coined Fish Brigade with a side of heroes. So I think we established it a little while back, but when they started doing like special editions of sets, we would just include the cards included in the special edition as they were in the set as well. For this, they were, I think, Spore, and then Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, which takes a hero monster and a water monster. So us playing stuff like Sea Lancer, Big Jaws, the Penguins through Great Emperor Penguin gives access to a decent amount of actually water monsters, alongside Ocean and Bubbleman just being waters. And these also being heroes means that we actually have a pretty potent boss monster, Absolute Zero, that we should be able to decently well get into. So that's something that I've incorporated here alongside the rest of the Fish Brigade package. So let's take a look at what we have here. So starting us off, we have 3 Sea Lancer. This is our main main boss monster that we want to be tributing for after we have a couple cards banished, and then we'll get a 2300 beater that gets protected as long as it has materials it can break, and obviously then those get destroyed, so they go in the grave, so we can reuse them if we can then get them back into circulation. But the big problem that I realized when building this deck, I think I also alluded to in the set breakdown, It's just there are so few actual ways of banishing stuff. You have so many payoffs, but you have such few ways of banishing things as well, establishing a little bit. So it's not great, but if we can get to something like Sea Lancer with a couple of materials, I feel like it can swing the tempo into our favor. A single grade Emperor Penguin, which is a terrible tribute summon. I mean, moderately it would be fine because you have more good penguin stuff, but this doesn't even allow you to summon them in face down defense position, which would be what we want to summon our Penguin Soldier and Nightmare Penguin in. And the only reason this is here is so we get to play these cards, and I will be signing this out for games 2 and 3. I'm not intending to play it. It is still a water aqua a monster, which can be beneficial for some stuff. Then we have Big Jaws, which is a probably one of what feels like one of like more over nerfed, pre-nerf card, like I don't know, overbalanced cards, I will say. I think because something like this, obviously it makes sense for the archetype, but for the most part this would be a negative effect, and I feel like this is enough to warrant this card, especially for the Zexal era, warrant this card being like maybe 2200, 2300 attack, but 1800 beater that at the end of the battle phase, when it attacks, banishes itself permanently is not great. But like I said, we're very starved for banishing effects, so we need to run it for that. Then Air Orca, probably the best monster. I mean, if we're not counting Stratos. Overall, just for our deck. Once per turn, you can banish a Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua from your hand to destroy one of your opponent's cards, and then banish this card until your next standby phase. It just does everything your deck wants you to do. You can banish stuff. You can banish stuff for a pop effect, and then it also protects itself on your turn, since it gets... Sorry, on your opponent's turn, since it only comes back then during your turn. So if your opponent wants to deal with it, they need to do it during your turn. So this is what we want to be getting into 99% of the time. Then, because a lot of our stuff is actually very tiny, we also need some decent beaters if we are going into our extract plays. So we just have 2 Spearfish Soldier here. It's a Sea Serpent. It gets 100 attack for each of our banished Sea Serpent on Aqua type monsters. Probably gonna end up being like 18, maybe 1900 at most, but still a decent beater. And it's also a level 4 Sea Serpent. So if you look at our lineup, we actually don't have that many level 4s, but we want to be making stuff like Roach and Utopia. So Spearfish Soldier can help in those. Flyfang is a different Big Jaws. It's 200 attack less, but inflicts piercing battle damage, and then if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you, at the end of the battle phase, it banishes itself until your next standby phase, which means that it can serve the turn some of your cards that want stuff to be banished online, and also kind of protects itself. And then a single Wing Tortoise which summons itself when a face of Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua type monster you control is banished. And you can spell summon it from your hand or your graveyard, so it just gets... you can recur it so many times, so this is obviously very good. You get this, you banish this, you get it back with something like Sea Lancer or one of your other shuffles. Specify is like Sea Lancer, then it gets put to your grave, then you banish something else, and you get to summon it back. It's just nice. And finally, from the main set for our monsters, we have 3 Goblin Perk. Obviously very good. We can use this to get an extra body on the field. We can use to summon something like Spearfish Soldier to make a rank 4, or with any of our other low 4s. Stratos procs both on normal and special summon, so we can use that on Stratos. We still get Stratos Search, and then we can make a rank 4. Goblin Perk is just generically very good in the set. And then we have 2 Surface, where we can summon one of our Fish Brigade cards that are level 3 or lower from our graveyard in defense position. This is to recur stuff like Air Orca, because if there's one card that Jeexx is gonna wanna remove in our arsenal once he knows what we're doing, is Air Orca. So this is basically here to get that back. Fishing Kicks. If we have 3 or more banished Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua type monsters, we can banish a card on the field. a pretty hard cost to fulfill, but we have like a lot of control stuff here with stuff like the penguins as well. So maybe we can stall and then start banishing stuff. Obviously, being able to banish stuff is very good because that means Jeexx can use stuff like Miracle Fusion. A single Aqua Chat, like I said, we don't really have good beaters. So if we can summon something like Leviathan, not Leviathan Dragon, it's a dragon. Something like Submersible Carrier Air Shock, which is good for a strategy anyway, or even like Levier and give it an Aqua Jet, it should be able to beat up basically anything that Jeexx wants to summon. And this, it's not a quick play spell card, which is unfortunate, but it's still a permanent increase, which is nice. A single Utopian Aura, which we are not going to be using. We're going to be citing this out games 2 and 3, and it's only here so we get access to Utopia. So we have 2 different rank 4s we can go into. 2 Underworld Egg Clutch. When a face-up Fish Brigade monster is banished, you can add a level 4 or lower Fish Brigade monster from your deck to your hand. This is here because stuff like Aerocra needs us to banish stuff from our hand, so this is how we can reoccur more stuff so we can use them with Aerocra more, and we can get more stuff banished quicker. It's a very good card, but obviously it needs this condition to fulfill. That's why I didn't feel comfortable maxing out on it. Also important, Wing Torches is a win, as well as Underworld Egg Clutch, which means that if we're banishing something, we can't use both of these. So in those cases, if that comes up, we need to decide, do we want the extra body or do we want the extra card? I feel like in other cases, we maybe want the extra body, but for something like Aerocra, we basically always would want the Egg Clutch for sure. Then we have Fish, one of my favorite card names in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very funny. Which is just a counter trap that by shuffling one of your banished Fish Brigade monster in the main deck, you negate the activation of a effect monster's effect. And there are a lot of good ones in Heroes, obviously, like just to name a couple, something like Absolute Zero Shadows, stopping those is already like really good. And then finally we have 2 Tyrants Tummy, which gets activated by tributing a monster, and then neither play against Special Summon a level 6 or higher monster, but this card pops itself if you have 3 or more cards in hand. For the couple, if we can just slow down the game for the couple of first turns, and then before Jeexx gets to Fusion Summon, we can flip up Tyrant's Tummy Ache. We can stop basically all the all of the Fusion Blaze, which means that at that point we just need to deal with the Strato speed down, and if he's playing Neos Alias, since there's Gemini Spark, obviously gonna be still very scary, but this is something to combat the Fusion summoning. And then the rest I don't probably have to talk about too much since we've seen these multiple times, but we have 3 Penguin Soldier, sometimes can flip 2, which is nice, a Nightmare Penguin, which since we have a decent amount of waters, actually the on-field effect can be relevant as well. Also, it's a level 4, so we can make rank 4s with it. 3 Stratos. This is just to search our other stuff. Obviously, go into Absolute Zero. We need heroes. We're always searching basically Stratos with Stratos, and then we can end it all with either Ocean or Bubbleman, who are both water heroes. And Ocean can recur our Stratoses if we need them, and then Bubbleman can potentially be a draw 2 on Special Summon, which is nice. And then finally we have the Miracle Fusion. I was thinking of going 2 Miracle Fusion and 1 Poly as well, but I figured, being able to banish stuff is nice, and we can always just summon stuff, then when they get killed, then we can Miracle Fuse into Absolute Zero. As for our side deck, it's basically all from the Turbo pack, except for 1 Absolute Crusader, which once again here to prevent the hero plan. But the problem here is that it doesn't really deter stuff. It's like, okay, you need to beat over this first. And the reason why I'm citing this is because while Stratos crashing with this is fine for us, I want to know if he's on Neos Alias first, because if he's playing Neos Alias, who can just straight up beat over this thing, then it becomes much less good. 2 Fishboard Blaster, and alongside those we'll then side in our Stardust and RTA, so we can make some synchro plays. So this can just, by discarding a card, special summon itself from the graveyard no matter how many times, as long as you control a face-up level 3 or lower water monster. And then all synchro materials must be water if we go into it. If we feel like we want to go for a synchro place, we can go into fish mark. 3 Zangan here, strictly so we have as frequent access to air orca as possible. 3 Cypher Soldier if we feel like we're just getting beat over. This is going to be a huge beater against heroes if we need it. 3 creature swap, since in general a lot of our stuff is very bad, so if we need to put it on the field and change it for like a fusion, obviously very powerful. And then armor arm as well to have some different levels if we want to go into the synchro place. Or in Dragon is here because, you know, I kind of just ran out of relevant stuff to put in the extra deck. But otherwise, our extra deck is 3 absolute 0. So 1 hero monster, 1 water monster must be fusion summoned against 500 attack for each water monster on the field except itself. And then if it leaves the field, no matter how, it just pops all of your opponent's monsters. It's very good. And we have heroes, we have water, so we can hopefully get into this. And this is like probably our best boss monster. We have 3 Utopia that we saw last time as well. 2 Roach, which can stop the Soul Summoning shenanigans in some cases. But unfortunately, the problem here is when a level 5 or higher monster would be special summoned, you can detach an Xyz material from the sky to negate the special summon. It doesn't work for Polymerization, I found out very recently. It's still decent, but it's not as good as I initially thought it would be for preventing the fusion summoning shenanigans. So it's still fine, but yeah, definitely much less relevant than I figured initially. 2 Leviathan Dragon just to have access to some beaters. It can not attack directly unless it has material, and once per turn you can detach 1 to make it permanently gain 500. 2 Submersible Carrier Arrow Shark. If we actually manage to banish some stuff, this can help us kind of go for a cowboy for a game. A single terabyte, since 3 level 3s on the board at once, is pretty hard to achieve. But if you get to it, 2900 defense is absolutely massive. And then once per turn, you can detach a material for this card to gain control of your opponent's monster until the end phase, which means that we can just grab something and then we can make more extra deck plays with it, which is obviously very good. A single Levier, if we want to directly summon some of our banish stuff, if you have to like banish Air Orca for Air Orca, then it would be nice to be able to get another Air Orca back. So that's nice as well for that. Whew, that was a slog. That took all over 14 minutes. I apologize. My deck breakdowns, I feel like, have been super long lately. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my scatterbrain, but or just the fact that we're playing now with a lot more cards that I haven't seen before. So I feel the need to over-explain things because I'm more explaining them to myself, it feels like sometimes. But regardless, I honestly don't know what to expect because a lot of these cards I haven't even seen before. And like I said, if we can actually get the train going, if we can like consistently open stuff like Air Orca, we can consistently get stuff actually banished, I feel like the deck will actually be pretty decent. But still, I feel like the heroes just have a lot of consistency and just straight up power in the set. So I don't know like how the two match up against each other. And one last thing that I want to mention is that Absolute Zero is from both sides. So the problem is if we get water stuff and Jeexx goes into Absolute Zero, then we might have a problem where we're staring down like a 3500 Absolute Zero and we're just stumped on, okay, how do we deal with this? And then when we deal with it, it pops our stuff as well. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. But hopefully you enjoyed the deck breakdowns regardless, and we'll see you in the dueling zone next. What's up, ladies and fellas, lads. Why have I been mixing up my intros now? I don't know why. I think even last week I mixed up my like set breakdown and deck build and stuff. It's very integral that we keep the integrity of everything intact. That's a lot of I words. But anyways, welcome back to the Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey. We're back with the Generation Force alongside Turbo Pack 6. Almost done with Turbo Packs. Almost. I think there are 7 or 8 of them, I think. But almost done with those. But Generation Force, how are you feeling, Jeexx? Our first main set of Zexal.
I feel like this set is a force to be reckoned with. Like the generational gap between 5Ds and Zexal is kind of massive, especially when you consider the fact that this set even has more synchros in it. And if you also consider the fact that this also relates back to all the way back in GX, because we got heroes, baby, it's quite impressive.
Those puns were packing some turbo ass times 6. But yeah, what he
As
said.
per usual.
Oh,
That was literally word salad, by the
yeah. I can respect that.
way.
Anyways, the coin has spoken and has deemed me unworthy today.
I almost just clicked go second, but
Oh,
that
the
would have
battle
been
phase?
nasty. Stand by, man. Witness me.
Oh,
I activate.
polymerization.
A hero lives. I pay
Oh,
half my life points to special summon from my deck
Stratos.
Elemental Hero Stratos.
Yep,
And I will
it's a pretty good
use it to
start.
add to my hand Elemental Hero Stratos.
Which you
And
will
then I will
normal
activate.
summon to add to your hand Elemental Hero Stratos. And
No. In fact, I will add to my hand.
oh,
Actually, is that a good idea? I think that's a good idea. I think that's fine. That's probably fine. Yeah.
Shadow
Add to my
Mist.
hand. Bubble Man.
Yep.
Then I activate from my hand Polymerization to
Yep.
fuse Bubble Man and Stratos into the card that will most definitely not be the thing that wins me this fucking match if something does. Absolute Zero. Now, for a little history lesson, Absolute Zero is actually it's more of a future lesson. Absolute Zero is a card that is currently still played in Modern Heroes because it is a one-sided. Well, it's not a one-sided. It's a Raigeki. It's a Raigeki on legs, guys. Against attack from 4 water monsters usable by fusing a hero monster and a water monster. And on top of that, it can proc if it leaves the field for any goddamn reason.
It's
Pass.
pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, I will accept the turn. And well, as much as I would love to answer your, impressive turn 1, unfortunately, mine is gonna be a humble set 3 and pass.
Oh, okay. I'll activate Mask Change.
Mm-hmm.
Targeting Absolute Zero to special summon Vapor. And
Yep.
then activate Absolute Zero to pop all your monsters.
Yep. And that is the only monster I have, so Nightmare Penguin to the grave.
I would like to activate the Emergency Call.
Yep.
To add to my hand Elemental Hero monster. I will add Stratos. Then I will almost summon Stratos and pop both of your spell traps. Non-targeting.
Yep. So turns, tummy ache, and fish.
And then I would like to activate Miracle Fusion to fusion summon using
Another absolute zero.
And Stratos to make an absolute zero.
Yeah, and that is way past lethal. So let's go into the next game.
I love Elemental Heroes, baby!
I don't actually wait. There are a couple things I want to change. Yeah, so let me stop pause the recording and let's side for game 2. All right, lots of changes. I don't know if I've ever made this many changes when siding. So let's see if these do anything. Because that sure was a game that we played there. Alrighty. And well, this is interesting. Huh. Honestly, I think I'll just start with a normal Stratos. adding
Hell
another shadows to hand and passing on that.
Hell
Me
yeah.
playing
I'm gonna
my Fish Sea Serpent deck, by the way.
I'm gonna normal summon
Shadows.
Neo's Alias.
Ooh.
I beat over your Stratos.
No, my poor shadows.
And pass.
Alright. Oh. Well. Interesting.
You better
Well,
watch out.
send a monster a pass.
I will swing into this monster.
It is a Sangan. So
Okay.
I'll search and add to my hand an Air Orca with Sangan.
I will normal summon Elemental Hero Stratos.
Mm-hmm.
And I will activate the effect of Elemental Hero Stratos to add to my hand a Elemental Hero. I will add, in this case, a Bubble Man. And I will set another one. I'll set one. I'm gonna overlay these two. Oops, that's weird. That did not go as intended. There we go. Gonna overlay these two to make a Steel Swarm Roach and pass.
Interesting. Now I'm trying to recall what the fuck was there in the sets.
You will never guess what I have set right now. So don't bother. I like legitimately. It's not from the set.
Because I have two avenues here, but you know I added Orca into my hand, which is what bothers me here. So I think I will actually instead do this. So I will normal summon a Goblinberg.
Yeah.
Special summoning a Shadows with the effect then putting Goblinberg into defense.
And now you do not activate the effect of Elemental Hero Stratos for it with timing.
Yeah, because it's a when.
Specifically, it's also after that. That's the thing that sucks.
Yeah. Shit. And then I will... Oh yeah, let me do this. It's probably easier. Let me overlay
overlaying them first is easier.
2 for a Utopia.
Utopia.
And then we will attempt to swing into the Roach and see what your back row is. Okay. Oh, interesting.
You will never
go
guess
into
what it is.
And I will just pass.
Stand by, man. I will normal summon.
Bubble Man and equip it with Bubble Blaster and...
Hell, I should totally have done that, dude. That would have been fucking sick.
Activate Jet Ski, giving it 1,000 more points, and then beat over my Utopia. If you did all that, then I would be like, all right, you know what? You got it. I will not be activating the effect.
I'll just normal summon Bubble Man, activate Miracle Fusion, and banish Stratos and Bubble Man to make a absolute 0 in attack specifically as well. And then I will set another card, mayhaps. And pass.
Oh, you don't even want to attempt to swing?
No. Why would I?
I mean, interesting. I figured you want me to at least burn.
I mean, sure, we can do that. Yeah.
I was just wondering because I mean it's a 3K versus my 23.
It's not a 3K. Bro, read the card. Gains at 500 attack for each wild monster except Elemental Hero.
Usually it's except itself. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then it makes sense.
You can just trade.
Yeah, because obviously.
You can just be like, nah.
Yeah, then it makes sense. I mean, now there's definitely some shenanigans going on. Oh, we'll go straight into the battle phase and we'll first poke into this.
Yep.
Yep.
And Utopia dies.
Then we'll go main 2, and I will... Now this is actually interesting. What do I want to do? I think I will just set this and pass.
Okay. Double check something. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I will stand by main. Normal summon Neos Alias. Swing into the Nightbear Penguin.
It's a regular penguin soldier, so you can have your alias back.
I bounce back to hand, and then I pass.
Well, this is weird. I guess we'll push some damage. I'll normal summon a Spearfish soldier.
Okay.
Its combat prowess is unmatched and attempt to swing it for a 17.
Much like Insect Knight.
Yes. Although I think Insect Knight is 1900, so it has more prowess.
Yeah.
At least for now.
That is true.
Because, you know, my ways of banishing stuff are.
I will activate E-Call.
Yep.
And I will add to my hand a Neos Alias.
Mm-hmm.
And I will normal summon Neos Alias.
Yep.
Swing over the Spearfish soldier.
Yep.
Yep. Pass.
This is much more akin to the Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh! That I'm accustomed to.
Hell yeah.
Alright. Sure. Let's normal summon Air Orca.
Okay. Once it has been normal summoned, I will activate Hero Blast to target the Elemental Hero normal monster in my graveyard, which happens to be my Gemini Elemental Hero Neos Alias.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to add it to my hand, and then pop a monster on your side of the field with the same amount, less than or equal to the attack that it has.
Yep. And since there's only one target, Orca is gone. And I will simply pass.
Okay. And then I will normal summon Neos Alias.
Yeah.
Swing for 3.8.
Taking 38.
Set one pass.
Alright. Well then, normal summon Air Orca. But again.
Yep.
Then I would like to banish from my hand this Spearfish soldier. And I will pop, it doesn't matter, this.
Yep.
And then Air Orc gets banished until my next standby phase. And when it gets banished, I will special from my hand this Wing Tortoise.
Okay.
Then I will attempt to creature swap.
Okay.
So you can have my tortoise. Then I will attempt to swing over the tortoise with Alias.
Yes.
For 400, and then we'll pass.
Okay. Start turn. Stand by main. Activate.
Oh yeah, well,
Hero lives.
if this is fine, since actually wait, never. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I fucked it up. All good.
All right. Pay half my life points.
Yep.
650. To special summon from my deck a elemental hero monster. I will special summon.
Shadows.
Elemental hero Heat.
Yo.
And then I will normal summon elemental hero Stratos.
Yep.
To add to my hand, and actually I will pop your face down.
Yeah. And this is what was unfortunate, because I was supposed to do this with my Orca, but I forgot. So.
Well, that's. No. I would like to swing over Neos Alias using Heat.
Take 100.
Then attack using Stratos.
Yep.
Okay. And then set one card, and does it matter? No, it does not matter. Pass.
And this gets summoned. Back. And if only I had remembered to activate my fucking cards.
That's yeah. I mean, you could have still done. I think.
Yeah,
it would have been
but
fine.
I already let it go, and I don't want to take stuff back. So.
Wait, actually, wait. Let me double check. Would you have summoned winged tortoise if you do that?
The idea was that I would have done that instead. That's why I was like, yeah, let me not.
Oh, okay.
If it was just a simple like, hey, is it fine if I still add it, then that would have been different. But obviously, both of them are when, like, so you can do both of them. Then that's why.
Yeah, you'd have to reverse the entire play.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I don't want to. Sorry, I didn't word it properly. But if it was as simple like, oh yeah, let me actually remember to do this, it wouldn't have changed anything if I just added one there, like at the end. But because of it would have had to change the whole thing. That's why I wanted to.
Yeah, I understand.
That's my bad.
I would like to normal summon Neos Alias.
Yep.
And I would like to attack into this using Stratos.
Yep.
Then I would like to attack using Neos Alias for 1.9 thousand.
Yep.
And then I would like to attack using Heat for 2.2 thousand. That is.
This deck is so fucked. I don't know what I expected, but I mean, there's nothing here. If there were a way to actually banish stuff to make use of something like Sea Lance, it would have been fine. But all of the cards are just so fucking bad, and just with how insane the hero package was for this set,
I feel like your best bet would have been some kind of weird control package just utilizing Penguin Soldier to prevent me from basically ever swinging into stuff and always having to play around the fact that you most likely have a Penguin setup. And because I would always go -4 if you bounce a single fusion that I have, basically.
Yeah.
So that's like the only way I could see this working.
Yeah, the problem there is like the only card that there really was still to add to like the control package was there was a card that said when your opponent declares I'm not sure if it was an attack or a direct attack, negate the attack and then burn them for 800 for all of my fish, sea serpents, and aquas.
Yeah, Poseidon. Yeah.
Which is
I even consider playing that myself.
Yeah, which is. That's fine. But I mean, here the big problem just wasn't that the rare ways I had to banish stuff, I just couldn't find. And even when I got to something like Air Orca, you just always had the answer. Because just going through your deck so much faster.
It's just impossible to stop me from hitting the stuff that I need to deal with things. Like, for example, I had basically gone through 7 heroes, and that at the point that we were at. By just searching for them. And then on top of that, I had already dealt with a threat that was Utopia. I had Hero Blast set up in a way where I could deal with their Orca as soon as it dropped. I could always search for Heat, which I thought was Heat is in here specifically for Nova Master and also for Koga.
Yeah.
But the reason why I also kind of wanted to run Heat was because of the fact that Heat I gain X amount of attack for each elemental hero that you control, means that if I get it off of something like on turn 2, and you happen to be playing Neos Alias for whatever reason, I can use Heat to swing over Neos Alias, for example. It turned out to be, you creature swap for Neos Alias, and it worked out purely because of the fact that Heat is in the deck.
Yeah.
It would have been kind of problematic. It would have been legitimately difficult for me to get rid of the Neos Alias if I had not had Heat in my deck.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
that was.
The reason why I even took the Sangans from the Turbo pack was just if I don't get into Air Orca, I'm not gonna be able to do anything, because it's okay, this is my way of removing stand. This is also basically the sole way for me to actually banish things. So it was literally here. Sagan is here exclusively so I can always find Air Orca.
Yeah.
And I even had like stuff like Surface here at 2 copies, because if the games are slower and if all my Air Orcas get dealt with, I need to be able to get them back, because otherwise, if I'm not getting my Air Orcas, this deck is not doing anything.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like the second game would have been a pretty good game overall if you had not to have deal with absolute zero almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you summon something that is an Air Orca, really, like anything that is a water attribute, my absolute zero can just start steamrolling over everything.
Yeah, that's an additional thing here, which is obviously a problem, which is like half of my deck. I mean, I talked about it before we started recording, which is funny. Like half of my fucking fish are wind types, like Flyfang, Spearfish Soldier, Air Orca, Wing Tortoise. They're all wind types, but it's obviously nice when facing absolute zero. If I had it myself, then obviously it would be better the other way, and also it would be better for stuff like Nightmare Penguin, because like even with a couple of banishes, Spearfish Soldier, and even something like Flyfang can actually be pretty medicine if I happen to have that with Nightmare Penguin, but it just never got there.
I feel like the attack boost on absolute zero, well, it is like problematic, specifically like in the situation that you had Utopia on the field. That was like the one situation where I feel like it's a menace. But outside of that, like I did not see myself in a position where I could ever really utilize it, because I saw stuff like Penguin Soldier and Nightmare Penguin were so scary to me that I kind of hesitated on attacking into anything that was face down. So in a way, just setting a face down card basically walled me from attacking using absolute zero or going into those lines, which would have possibly played into it if the game had gone on a bit longer. Like if you had ended up setting one card and I had to decide if I want to attack into it while I had a decent board set up or not, I would have probably favored not attacking into it.
Yeah.
Which then means you can recycle the Penguin Soldier, of course.
Yeah.
But
basically like I mean, it was basically checkmate there. Like if I had one more turn and could get the draws off with, I actually wait. I can just check here. If I could get the draws off with what's his face, the Bubble Man, then I don't know if it would have changed anything, but it would have been O-Fish and Penguin Soldier. So I don't think it would have done much.
No,
I could have
not much.
Penguin Soldier would have bought an additional turn, but then it would have once again been like, okay, now you have Flyfang, but even with that, I only have 2 banishes, so I can't even do anything with that either.
I think the big problem would have been just the fact that I had such a big board at that point. Like I had Heat, I had Stratos, and I had Alias. So even if you had got Penguin Soldier off at that stage of the game, it could have ended up just with me having way too many cards.
Yeah.
Especially because if it was the next turn, you would have only drawn Bubbleman next turn, then I would have had extra heroes on board. So I could just swung one.
Yeah, that was kind of the problem with this set, was just like Heroes was just like so far and beyond the best thing you could do. But
absolutely.
Well, try to avoid mirrors when possible. So it was just like, I mean, you know, stuff like Ocean, stuff like Bubble Man being water, and then you can even like utilize something like Absolute Zero, and this was like, okay, it's an avenue. And I think like Sea Lancer is a pretty potent card, but it was just like for like a format like this, it didn't end up panning out because there was just not enough ways to actually banish and get the effect. Like there were so many ways to get payoffs for banishing, but the ways of actually banishing things were Air Orca, Flyfang would do it for 1 turn, and then you had a terrible card in Big Jaws, which is 1800 Beatstick that just permanently banishes itself. Like it wasn't, if it was something like 24, 22, even like a potent beat stick, like it would be fine, because then you would have, okay, you can beat over basically anything that comes from the main deck, and then it banishes itself, so it plays into your actual playstyle. But like as it is, it just, okay, you can get a vanilla with better stats that doesn't have the what's usually a drawback of banishing itself. So it was just like, It's kind of like trying to make something out of it. I was trying to make cake with half the ingredients for a cake, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah. I feel like Big Jaws is such a weird design choice because we've had billions of cards before that have like over 2,000 attack, and then they
Yeah.
have a drawback of like, oh, this card goes to defense and can turn back into attack, or this card when it kills a monster lets your opponent draw a card, and those kinds of cards are actually arguably playable in this kind of format. Like
Yeah.
maybe not against like heroes in this set, like specifically heroes in this set. I feel like if you give them extra draw, that's really bad.
Yeah.
But like, for example, if Big Jaws just said this thing has 2,400 attack, when it attacks, it can only attack monsters, and when it attacks, banish it
Yeah.
at the end of the battle phase. I think that would have been honestly a pretty good card, and it would have been really scary to play anything on the board with. Because Neos Alias walls everything in terms of attack,
Yeah.
which is insane. 1,900 attack. It just stands there, and then on top of that, you have cards like Gemini Spark and Hero Blast to recur it. Like the main reason why I was playing these was because I remember that Hero Beat basically plays these two cards. Like Gemini Spark is something that I played way back in the day with my shitty version of Heroes as well.
Yeah.
I never really got any value out of it, and I got confused why people would ever play it because I didn't feel like you had enough chances of using like Neos Alias for this. And recently I realized Hero Blast actually works on Neos Alias in the graveyard, and I feel like a fucking idiot in hindsight. But this basically like makes it so that Neos Alias double dips as removal. Not only does it draw you a card, it destroys a card on the field, and then it also recurs itself and destroys a monster on the field, which is crazy.
Yeah. It does a lot. Whoops.
Yeah, like sure, it's three cards in your deck that can do this. Like if you have these three cards, they do this, but still, it's three cards that in this era of Yu-Gi-Oh, being so slow, being such a tempo game, can
Yeah.
immediately swing the game in my favor with just I summon Neos Alias, I swing into this monster, I set two cards, I pass. There's no spell trap removal in this. There's a spell trap bounce for one card on each side of the field, which is ass. But uh, if my opponent cannot deal with my Neos Alias immediately, I can just Gemini Spark it, pop a card, and then the hero beat and pop the card that they summon later. It's just
Yeah.
fucking wild.
You know, well, I felt like a lot of the cards had like they were like overbalanced. Like they thought this like
Yeah.
almost like a tri brigade of but fish version like would be too powerful, so that like overbalanced some of the cards. Like yeah,
And then
if we make Big Jaws really big, it's gonna be problematic. It's gonna be too powerful, or something like Fly Fang being on the 1600. Like it feels like they were kind of overestimating like how good the deck would be, because there is so much stuff. Like obviously years after, like Livier has seen play and been very good, but this like a deck like this didn't really try. I think like Sea Lancer had like Sparks of Brilliance for a little bit, but something like look at how much stuff there. Like you have so many different like pairs. You have the Underwear Egg Lodge to recur you more stuff to banish. You have O-Fish there like to use if you have a lot of stuff banished. Fish and Cakes there as a payout for you when you have stuff banished. And then like it was even like stuff in the extra deck like Submersible Carry Arrow Shark. Like there were and Livier that were like clearly aimed at this archetype, than being fish and aquas and the relevant ranks and types as well. It feels like there's so much there. They were kind of afraid like, okay, this is gonna be too powerful, and they sort of overbalanced some of the cards. It's a neat
absolutely.
idea, but it just doesn't really work in practice, especially so in like a close format like this.
Yeah. There's if this had some kind of decent fusion monster that you could use to maybe like filter out your hand into banish using Fusion Gate, because Fusion Gate wasn't Turbo Pack.
Yeah,
It could have maybe been interesting if you could just immediately banish shit to special like Fusion summon something good, and then go from there to maybe have a play using Sea Lancer by tributing the monster that you just summoned and attaching the cards to it,
yeah,
or maybe even summoning Olivier to summon from something from banish and then having that do something. But as it is, there's nothing here. Like
yeah.
actually nothing here.
I don't.
Also, Sea Lancer is a Beast Warrior.
Yeah, it's not one of the three.
What the fuck?
I don't remember if I kept it in my final build, but like initially I had I think like 2 copies of Fusion Gate in like the side deck that I would side into from after game 1 from the turbo pack, but there being like literally nothing else there except for Elemental Hero Absolute Zero meant that it would be like really inconsistent for me, and then I'm just giving you like, if you happen to not find Polymerization, I'm also giving then you the avenue. Okay, you can now do this if you're playing heroes, which I mean, obviously here, like I knew you were playing heroes, but even like when I usually try to make, okay, I'm just looking at the set, what's potentially there for the set. Like it was obvious that hero was the best thing available, and if I'm supposedly going against heroes and I have a single absolute zero that I can summon with one of my 5 elemental heroes, compared to my opponent literally playing a full hero deck, I would rather not have Fusion Gate there. So like you said, like if there was something else to go into, then that could have been fine, because then I could at least escalate my own game plan by fusion summoning into stuff. But the problem is because like everything needed to be also the specific types, and Absolute Zero needing a hero monster meant that one of the two was always going to be something that I can't use with Sea Lancer, which is a problem.
Actually, wait, let me double check. Yeah, it is a warrior. Yeah. So I noticed something that I hadn't really ever paid attention to before. Heat is a pyro monster.
Oh yeah, it's another warrior.
Yeah, which is weird because then you look at Woodsman. Woodsman is a warrior, and even though he could be like literally a rock or something, he's made
Because
out of
these are
wood, but he
the
could be a rock.
manga cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if Ocean was an aqua or a fish or a sea serpent, that would be one thing. Like you could play Ocean and arguably have it be fodder for Sea Lancer as well.
Yeah, that would have
You
been
could even
way
double
better.
dip. Yeah, you could have double dipped, and that would have been big enough to where I can't even swing over with absolute zero, even with the buffs on it.
Yeah, but
So it could have been good.
it's weird that it's only Heat out of the manga lineup that is not a warrior.
Actually, I think there is. Let me double check because
Actually, wait, is
Voltic
Lady
is
Heat?
a thunder. I think Lady Heat is also.
That could make sense, or would make sense. Yeah.
Double check. Yeah, she's a pyro, and Poison Rose and Knospe are plants. Voltic is a thunder. Oh yeah, why is Woodsman not a plant?
That's a good question.
Like the fact that Voltic is a thunder really threw me off because I was so confused for a moment. Like how, why, when I've never noticed this.
That was
Probably
another
because
thing that I also had. Like, I see you also had Absolute Crusader. Like, I had Absolute Crusader in the side that I was thinking of maybe siding into, to at least, okay, you at least need to deal with this before. But then when you revealed that you were also like playing Nias Alias, I was just like, it becomes then pointless, because if it's not even able to be there, like, okay, you need to actually use removal or crash a Stratos on it, and you can just beat over it with Nias Alias. It was just like, okay, it's not really gonna work as a deterrent, because it's basically just like, okay, summon Nias Alias, beat over it, then that's the end of that.
like I'm really starting to, because I never played when Hero Beat was a like relevant deck, but I'm really starting to understand why Hero Beat was a relevant deck, and it's such like obvious. Like when you think about it, it's kind of obvious. You have a good normal monster you can normal summon. You have a good consistency engine. You know, Hero Lives Now, Emergency Call, and Neos Alias Strato, so on and so forth. And then on top of that, you have good removal tools. You have a massive body on Neos Alias, and there was something else that I forgot. Oh, you have an Honest as well, because Neos Alias is a light, so you can also use Honest as a combat trick. So this card is just like this deck archetype is just insane for the time.
Yeah.
And the fact that you basically get it for free if you're playing heroes in an archetype, as an archetype in this, is currently kind of a problem, I'd say, but it's going to become less and less of a problem as we go on, as more archetypes become faster. Like I'm just gonna say that I don't think heroes will be an issue after this for a long time. Because if I remember correctly, Great Tornado is 4 sets away, and Esquardao is even further away. Oh, never mind. It's not even in. It's in the Hero Strike structure deck. Never mind.
Oh, and I mean
Yeah,
here it's
both of these
also
are
like because it feels like overall like the power of the like this set was lower, which I think it is because it's. I'm not sure if it was on camera last week or afterwards, but it was like when you look at Duelist Genesis and how much power was in that, it definitely feels like this is definitely a lot lower.
absolutely.
So
I feel
it's
like the new cards are significantly weaker than the old cards, like with the support for the old cards in this,
yeah, for sure.
which is weird
So
because
it's
the
like
new cards in Duelist Genesis are like RDA, Stardust Dragon.
I mean all the
What
Signer
else?
Dragons are just so powerful, so that definitely like skews it. But it
Yeah.
definitely like does feel like there's like overall the power level is lower, and that's what made Hero so good because they got like a few good cards, the special edition giving you access to absolute zero, and then like obviously with legacy support having access to a lot of the other like good staples. Oh, by the way, do you remember like how much your like what your split was like the legacy archetype and what you got from the set? Because there was a decent amount
Uh,
of good stuff in the set. I feel like for heroes, but I don't know if it was like that crazy.
I had 18 and 22.
Gotcha.
Polymerization counting as 3 out of the 22. That is.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's always just fine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I just double checked.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
I didn't really play much of the stuff that heroes got from the set. Mostly Phantom Magician, for example. Phantom Magician I played purely because I was like, well, I need something as filler.
Mm-hmm.
And Phantom Magician doubles as Bubble Man. If I set Phantom Magician with an empty hand, an empty board, and I summon Bubble Man, that's a win in my book.
Yeah.
That's +2, baby.
Huge.
As,
Also,
then there's
I also saw you were playing Double or Nothing. That's pretty funny.
I was playing 2 copies of Double or Nothing, the main deck in game 1. Because I was like, we're gonna play Utopia. We're
Yep.
gonna have both. We're gonna both get Utopia out. We're gonna negate attacks. I'm gonna pop a Double or Nothing after you negate my attack, and then I'm gonna pop another Double or Nothing, and then I'm gonna swing over Utopia. And then I realized when I was testing it that it doesn't double twice, and I got really upset.
Yeah, Devil's the original attack, right?
No, it doubles the attack, but it's only once.
Oh, yeah, doing damage. Okay, interesting.
At least I think it is. Because when a monster's attack is negated, target that monster can make a second attack during spell phase. If it does, its attack is doubled during the damage step only. It doesn't say like it's the base attack or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it's just it doubles the current attack when it goes into damage step and doesn't have 2 instances of it.
Yeah, I guess because it like basically doesn't remember there's multiple, so it just both of them like happen at the same time, and one of them just fizzles out because they can't happen at the same time because something weird. Because Yu-Gi-Oh is
Yu-Gi-Oh,
basically
baby!
happens because Yu-Gi-Oh.
But yeah, as I was saying, we're not gonna be seeing heroes like basically at all for a while. I think we're gonna see them next time when Mask Hero Dion comes out. And after that, the next time we see them is when the structure deck comes out, which is like 4 years from now.
A long way to go.
Actually, never mind. We're not gonna see heroes until the structure deck comes out, or if we do side sets that have heroes in them.
Yeah, because I mean,
So,
obviously, like we still have the dual terminals, which, by the way, next time should be dual terminal 5. Is like those sometimes have heroes in them, so
yeah.
the possibility is there. I don't. I
Then
think.
there's also
Go ahead.
there's also Destiny heroes that we're gonna see later on, but those are like side sets as well.
Yeah.
So.
But that's why it's neat to also cover some of those sites, so we get more of these avenues. And if I recall correctly, I said I said it wrong, like what we're doing next. So next time, I don't remember what I said last time. I just remember I'm pretty sure I said it wrong. So next time is gonna be Duelist Terminal 5. We're not doing the A's and B's alone. It would be really weird, and the decks would be horse shit. And so we're doing Duel Terminal 5. And then after that, we're going back to structure decks with Lost Sanctuary and Gates of the Underworld. It's Dark Worlds and Agents, basically. It's what's happening after that. And then we're finally getting introduced to the coolest card in the history of this game, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. My boy. I'm excited for that for sure. But I see my camera's glitching again. Awesome. I think that's our cue to get out of here. So, another ass blasting. It's been a couple of O2s now in a row. If there's ever a time to get O2, it's next time, because I really want to play Dark Worlds. But both of the decks, when I took a brief look at them, like, see the structure deck look actually pretty good. And I feel like that's going to be a fun and decently even, hopefully, structured episode. But before that, we still have Duel Terminal 3, Duel Terminal 5 to go. So look forward to that next week. But anything to add before we get out of here, Jeexx?
Heroes, baby.
Heroes, baby. And with that being said,
get your game on.
Get your game. With that being said, get your game on, y'all, and we'll hopefully see you next week for Duel Terminal 5. So have a good one and peace.